for good behavior. He did 8 years in a maximum security prison.
He was in a maximum. Why was he in a maximum security?
Attempted murder.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's a good reason.
Yeah, he's an unassuming individual. I mean, like I said, if you didn't know his background, you might be knocking on his door, Dave, one night looking for a good time, and lo and behold, things go really bad for you.
Nathan, thoughts
on what?
On anything, really anything at all?
I think it's just common courtesy. If you're gonna receive a from somebody, it's only, manners.
It is good manners.
It's street manners.
But what if there was no agreement before that there would be reciprocated? That's why you got to haul them all in.
Then why bother doing the service if it's not going to be reciprocated?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe person B thinks, oh, okay, I will accept this gift of a service from my neighbor, assuming maybe it's no strings attached.
Oh my God, you blew me and now you want me to blow you? What are you, gay?
Hey, if you're woke and you're listening, cover your ears here. Nathan just said a bad word.
Well, you guys, on this subject, do you have another one? Do you have another one for us?
Yeah, well, in the same, this is a sexual in nature 911 calls. And a lot of times when you get a 911 call, people usually call you direct. Their emergency is direct, and they'll call you direct, and you'll speak to the actual person involved. But as an experienced 911 operator, when we get an indirect call from like the ambulance, we usually know it's a drug-related call because people don't want the cops to show up, or it's some bizarre call where they're going to just call the ambulance themselves and hopefully the cops won't show up. And this was the one where someone called the ambulance.
Who would not want the cops to show up?
Well, in this one, they don't, because the ambulance dispatcher was called and they were laughing. They said, I got a good one for you. Send the whole shift. And what it was there was a man home. I guess he was with his girlfriend, but when they got there, the girlfriend wasn't there. And she inserted so it tells me that he probably did it himself, but he inserted a cucumber, fresh from the garden, up his anus, and it got stuck. I guess there's a reverse suction, Dave. You might know more about that than me.
I don't know.
But is there a reverse suction when you insert something in your anus?
When I have my cucumbers,
sucks it right in.
I slice them and I eat them on salad. That's what I do. Yeah, so wait a minute. You're saying there was a reverse suction?
Well, I guess whatever he was doing,
Well,
and it completely got inserted into his anus.
We couldn't
see it when we got there. So it was inside his it was inside his cavity. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just trying to describe it as in layman's terms.
Well, this is a failure, and I think that this is a thing. As again, some people, we're all living our lives. We're all consenting adults. I'm assuming that that's not against the law.
No, it's not against the law.
Situation. Why would they call the cops if it's not against the law?
Because he had to go. He went to the hospital and they had emergency surgery on him.
Yeah, but they had the ambulance. They had the doctors waiting at the hospital. Why'd they have to involve you guys?
Well, we go to.
It's funny.
Yeah, because you want to know what it was? It was funny, and about 4 guys showed up, and the guy was embarrassed. The person who did it to himself was embarrassed, and the cops went there and got a little chuckle, and they left.
And there was a girlfriend involved, but she had left by that point.
He said there was a girlfriend, but she wasn't there, so that leads me to believe that he did it himself.
Or she went to the farmer's market.
She needed another cucumber for that salad in the morning.
But this is a thing that happens with a lot of communities, big and small.
Well, bizarre things happen. If you're
but people put things
in their butt.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw this at the hospital. There was a doctor at the hospital that worked the ER. I was in his office one day, years ago, just talking to him, and he had a box of items, all right, that he had taken out of people in his 20-year career.
He kept the box?
Kept the box.
cleaned it up, I hope.
Everything was cleaned up. Yeah, it was all
Okay.
kind of in a plastic casing and everything. And
So he had to.
Oh,
where did he have it?
screwdrivers?
No, but
in his office, kind of in a box under his desk,
Okay,
and we
so
were just
to
talking.
to pull out for.
Oh my God! It's just weird. The coat hangers, screwdrivers, nails. I don't even remember.
Those hurt.
You know, cucumbers, obviously, but those wouldn't last that long. They'd probably go raw, or they'd just get, I don't know, they'd rot out at some point. But
Well, I remember in I think it was the 80s
hey,
or
this
the 90s.
world is fucked up. This is a fucked up world we live in,
Right.
brother.
Well, the old thing that started in the 80s, I think it was the 80s, of talking about people basically taking rodents of various sorts and inserting them there. Did that ever really happen, or was that just
I would have to find a guest who was into that subculture. I've never been to a call like that. I've always heard about that. I don't know if it's just an old wise tale.
No, it's pretty common. It's pretty
Is it common, Nate?
It's pretty common for people to buy small animals. And
How would you know this?
Shit.
Yeah, how would you know that?
Internet.
All right.
And just let them,
It's so funny. He can do
Scroll
whatever he
around
wants,
inside.
and then when you call him on it, he says, "Oh no, I read about it on the internet."
There you go. It's on the internet. I didn't do it.
That's all right. So we'll get some animal complaints.
Oh, animal complaints. Yeah, we got a great one. This is literally one of the absolute funniest things I've ever heard in my career.
It's a little. If you're an animal lover, this one might be a little tough.
Yeah, if you're an animal lover, block your ears again.
But it's actually good advice.
Yeah, I would have said the same thing.
It's the only advice you can give.
That's it.
Hi there. Do you send out the animal control officer at this hour of the night?
No, there's nobody on duty.
Oh, there's an injured rabbit with 2 broken legs, and he's still alive in the middle of the street, and it's just heartbreaking.
Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do for that right now.
Oh, my God. How can I can't unsee it, so what do I do?
Well, if you want to be merciful, you run it over again.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? You come and do that.
You do it.
Oh, that is classic.
Is somebody?
Classic.
It sounds like it's the thing about that. When I heard that, I thought it sounds like, as he said, if you want to be merciful, run it over again. I thought that's really good. That's honestly, it's good advice, because you don't want the animal to suffer. It's horrible to run over a roadkill or to run over a living animal and kill it, but it's probably worse if it's
To watch it suffer and squirm in the street.
to let it
Take its
suffer.
last breath. I got you, Dave.
Yeah. But it sounds like when he says it, there's some laughter after he says it. Like he's like,
There's laughter in the background. There's laughter in the background.
yeah. Okay. Is that from another cop?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the other cop hears it and laughs.
Well, the worst thing that happens is a lot of these 911 tapes, not that one in particular, but certain incidents will happen on 911, and there'll be laughter in the background of people talking in the background. And a lot of times those tapes will be used at trials, like a murder trial or some sort of a domestic trial, and they'll bring in the 911 tape, and you'll hear cops laughing in the background, and that'll be played in open court.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so
Nathan, here's a little story for you.
Okay.
It's about roadkill. I know you like roadkill stories.
Sure.
I'm talking to Dale recently, and I was driving home late at night with my daughter, and I ran over a skunk, and I feel very badly about it, as I have whenever I've hit an animal. But it did that little squirrel thing where it went right, and then it went left, and I swerved away from it, and it ran right into my tires, and so I felt very badly for it, and we went through the same thing where my daughter wanted me to go back, and I said, if we go back and it's still living, I'm going to have to run it over again. And
you're going to see a real bad side of Daddy.
Yeah. And the next day, I'm talking to Dale, and Dale says, "Oh, is that the skunk near blah 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 blah?" And he names the skunk. He identified the roadkill. And I'm like, how do you notice these things? And it's just amazing. He says his point is any street cop would. My point is that I have run over children in crosswalks and forgotten about it, and I don't even remember it. And yet Here he is. He remembers a dead skunk in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I was on my way to the gym in the early morning, and I saw a skunk in the middle of the road. I knew it was a fresh kill, a few hours old.
You know why you knew it was a fresh kill?
Why is that?
Because it was stinking to high heaven.
Oh, it was stinking to high hell. Yep, absolutely.
That was a story back when I was a kid. I mean, that was a song. Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road by Loudon Wainwright III, I believe.
Oh, popular artist.
Yeah?
Never heard of him.
You've never heard of him?
I don't think so.
It's a famous song.
Okay, well.
All right. Anything else? What else you got for animal? By the way, animal calls are...
Animal calls, they're the toughest because most cops, especially when you have to show up like for a deer that's hit or a dog that's hit, and you know there's no way you're going to save it, so what cops are asked to do sometimes is to euthanize it.
Yeah.
To shoot it on the side of the road if you can. And I've never done that. Would never do that. But there's always a couple of guys who are hunters that are working. They'll come right out of their car with their shotgun. They'll rack around him when there's about 20 kids on the side of the street, and they'll put a shotgun round right into a deer. I've seen that happen.
Right. Well,
I would never do that.
And again, it's a mercy kill.
Yeah,
it's
is.
a mercy kill, and it's keeping everybody else safe.
You got Bambi on the side of the road with missing a couple of legs. You know, you got to take care of it.
Terrible.
And unfortunately, there's 3 or 4 kids on a scooter watching you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's got to be the worst.
You kids want to know how to make venison?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got one. And this is. I didn't. First of all, I never really knew that turkeys flew. Okay, I guess they
don't. Not for long.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't go. They don't fly like most birds. But yeah, it's.
So we got a call one day, and a lady, she lived in a wooded area, in a wooded area, and her windows were open, the first story window, so a couple of feet off the ground. She was a single mom, and she was yelling and screaming at 911. I guess a turkey flew into her house and was running around the house. She had a little kid in a crib or in a car seat, and the turkey was bouncing off the kid, and literally the whole police department showed up because that's one of the calls where a child could be injured, could be killed by a turkey.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell is going on. But before we got there, the lady was able to wrestle the turkey and snapped its neck.
Yeah,
absolutely. And when we saw the lady, she was kind of a, I don't know what's a good way to. She looked like she came from the woods of like Maine or New Hampshire. So she was a nice lady. Yeah. But she just had that look about it. She was an outdoorsman type lady, and that turkey went into the wrong house because it didn't last too long, brother.
I got to tell you this. I think anything that tries to go after a child when their mother is in the. I mean, this is the animal call. People they report while the coyotes were attacked my dog, or the coyotes were aggressive towards us. Usually, there's a den nearby. There are kids nearby, and they're protecting it. The animal kingdom applies to human beings as well in this because, frankly, even Nathan, when he was probably a little baby, his mother probably would defend him to the death.
Oh, well, no, she wouldn't have.
No. His mother carries a few knives in inconspicuous places on her body.
True story. Fine. All right. I'm sure. I think if she actually did that at some point during his adolescence, she would have used him on Nathan. All right. What else do we got here?
Oh, this was probably one of the from cops' perspective, it was one of the stupidest things I've heard. But I guess if you don't really know the difference between certain types of dogs, you might pull over to assist a dog. But a lady. She pulled over to a McDonald's in this town that I work in, and that particular McDonald's is by the water, so we do get a lot of not complaints, but complaints for coyotes in the area. So she pulled over. She had a child in the car, a young child, 4 or 5 year old kid, and she says,
It sounds like the exact opposite of what I just talked about. All right, go ahead.
So she pulls over and she says, "Hey, I'm in front of the McDonald's, and there's a sick dog on the side of the street, and I'm trying to get it into my car to bring it to the animal hospital." And we're like, "Could you describe the dog?" She goes, "Well, it's kind of mangy looking. It kind of looks like a German Shepherd type dog, but it's all gray." And we're like, "Lady, that's a coyote. I'm sure it's sick, and you better get the hell out of there real quick."
Okay.
Yeah, so you hear her kind of squeal a little bit. Oh my God! And she, jumps into her car. And she still had her phone on. She slammed the door and she took off out of there. But yeah, it's good to be an animal lover. It's good to try to help animals, but you got to kind of know what species you're dealing with in that situation. And she was going to get a coyote in her car, and that